Let's be honest, no one gets into leadership because they will love conflict. But I've never met a great leader who didn't learn how to face it well. I've coached leaders through everything from team conflict to burnout to cultural changes. Our videos here are to give you tools that actually work so you can lead with clarity, confidence, and calm. Most of the time, what I do to get things moving between two people is to sit with them and help them with their story, their view of the situation, their view of the damage, their view of the possibility of moving forward. Not a lot of my talking, but a lot of their talking. My job wasn't to fix them, it was to get them talking. That's the thing about conflict. The real work isn't about solving every issue. It's about opening communication, reducing defensiveness, and helping people feel seen. Now, there is a myth of resolving conflict. Most people I work with want to resolve conflict, and that's a good instinct. But what they often mean is, I want it to go away. Here's the truth. Conflict doesn't need to go away. It needs to become useful. Let me say that again. Conflict needs to become useful. In high-performing teams, conflict is inevitable and necessary. If no one ever disagrees, chances are people aren't saying what they really think. Productive conflict brings out better thinking, deeper clarity, and stronger relationships, if we know how to navigate it. Now, there are three conflicts leaders must learn to manage. In most organizations, conflict shows up in three forms. There's task conflict. This is the what of the work, how we do something, what gets prioritized, who owns what. It's usually the easiest to solve because it's concrete. Then there's relationship conflict. This is personal, tension around tone, assumptions, style, or personality. Left unchecked, it poisons trust. Then the values conflict. This goes deep. It's about identity, beliefs, and core motivation. These don't get solved, they get understood. Leaders don't have to mediate every issue, but they do need to know which type of conflict is playing out and how to respond accordingly. Now, there's some things most leaders miss. Here's the pattern I see over and over. A team member raises an issue. The leader tries to fix it fast. It really doesn't get fixed. Frustration grows under the surface. Most of the time, we don't need fast fixes. We need space. We need space to be heard, to be understood, to feel like the other person is actually listening. In mediation, I often ask two questions. What's a story you've been telling yourself about this situation? And the second, what would resolution look like? Not just for the issue, but for the relationship. The first one slows people down. The second one shifts their focus from the problem to the people. Mediation isn't a magic wand, it's a mirror. I've often been brought in to mediate when things feel like they're falling apart. But the most powerful mediations I've seen aren't about fixing anything. They're about surfacing what's real. That takes courage. In reading William Urey's amazing book, Possible, he talks about a situation where he was screamed at by a South American dictator for over half an hour. He was so very tempted to respond back with the same level of emotion. However, he held his tongue and let the other person let the emotions out. Once that was done, and the person stepped back and looked at him, and he asked what they should do next. While I am not saying that we should always let people scream at us, it is one of my favorite examples of getting down to what the real issues are. If Urey had cut the person off, he would not have opened the door that allowed that person, once he knew that Urey was fully in the game, He allowed it to be opened. But if Yuri hadn't done that, that dictator would have kept that door closed. It's amazing what happens when people start hearing what's behind the silence. And it's even more amazing what happens when they say, I didn't know how it sounded. I'm sorry. That's not weakness, that's leadership. Now, there's a part in Yuri's book, What Leaders Can Do Tomorrow. What's one thing you can do tomorrow? If you're leading a team, here's what I'd encourage you to try. Get curious before you get furious. Don't want to play with words there, but maybe that'll help you remember. Curious before furious. Because usually the curious puts the brakes on the furious. If someone's behavior frustrates you, ask yourself, what might be going on underneath? Now, normalize the conflict. Say out loud, we're going to disagree sometimes. That's healthy. What matters is how we handle it. Use I statements, not you never listen, but instead, I feel like I'm not being heard. That's where resolution begins. And I would encourage you to call in a third party early. Mediation is not a last resort, it's a leadership tool. If you feel stuck, bring in someone trained to help. And from your part, model what repair looks like. Apologize, own your part. It doesn't make you less respected, it makes you more trusted. And at the end of the day, the best leaders aren't the ones who avoid conflict. They're the ones who use it to learn more, lead better, and build trust that lasts. Conflict is not the enemy. Avoidance is. And when you learn how to step into hard conversations with clarity, humility, and skill, that's where real leadership begins. I want to also just take a moment and turn here and grab this book, Possible by Yuri. I have read a lot on this material over the years. I read Yuri's first book over 30 years ago, Getting to Yes, written with Roger Fisher of the Harvard Project on Negotiation. It is gold. Take time to read it through. And I'd like to thank you for watching this video. If it resonated at all, hit subscribe, tap the bell button to keep learning, and head over to coachinggroupinc.com to explore more ways we support leaders like you.